We're going to talk about something pretty incredible today. How just one single word in a new law could completely change a country's future in health and innovation. Yep, we're unpacking the story of Clause 31. Think about it. Can just one word in a law really limit a whole nation's potential? It sounds kind of dramatic, right? But the stakes are genuinely that high. We're looking at Uganda's new National Drug and Health Products Bill, where the choice between two little terms has sparked this massive debate among the country's top scientists. So let's get into why. Okay, so what's all the fuss about? Well, it really boils down to this. Who gets to be in charge? Who is actually qualified to oversee the super complex process of making medicines? And believe it or not, this entire debate hangs on a single, really crucial word. All right, here it is, Clause 31 of this new bill. It specifically says that only a pharmacist can supervise the manufacturing of drugs. Now, on the surface, that might sound totally reasonable, right? But, and this is a big but, the scientific community in the country is looking at this and seeing a huge problem with just how restrictive that is. So let's break this down. On one side, you have the bill's term, pharmacist. It's very specific. It limits this incredibly important job to just one profession. But on the other side, you have what the experts proposed, the term qualified person, or QP for short. Now, this is a huge deal because QP is the globally accepted standard. It's a much more inclusive term that actually recognizes all the other essential people involved. The chemists, the biologists, all the different scientists who are absolutely critical to modern drug development. And listen, this wasn't just one small group with a complaint. We're talking about a whole chorus of concerns. A really wide range of experts and professional associations all saw the danger in using such restrictive language, and they came together to try and get it fixed. And you can see just how persistent they were when you look at the timeline. I mean, this effort was clear, and it was sustained. It all kicked off back in early 2025. That's when the Association for Pharmaceutical Scientists, APSU, first raised the red flag. From there, they wrote directly to the Minister of Health. They even got a meeting with the National Drug Authority, the NDA. And here's the kicker. The NDA actually agreed with them. They agreed to change the term to qualified person. After that, a coalition of 5 different stakeholder groups jumped in and backed this up in writing to the Parliamentary Committee on Health. So the momentum was there. So, you've got the experts all on the same page. You've even got the main regulatory body agreeing, at least at one point. You'd think, okay, great, the change will be made, right? Well, this is where things get complicated, and it's where the whole process starts to come under some serious scrutiny. And this is where you can really see the breakdown. I mean, at every single turn, these expert recommendations were just met with inaction. That first suggestion? Crickets. Total silence. And that agreement they reached in the May 14th meeting? It led to absolutely no change in the bill. What about the letters from those 5 key groups to Parliament? Well, the committee's final report was completely silent on the topic. It was as if those submissions never even happened. The input was just ignored, and the clause was left exactly as it was. And look, the really crucial thing to understand here is that this wasn't just a case of ignoring good advice. There was a major procedural gap, a real breakdown in the process. The very people, the stakeholders who have been working on this for over a year, they weren't even invited or told about the final bill readings in Parliament. Just think about that. It means there was zero opportunity for any last-minute technical discussion before the bill became law. Okay, so what does this actually mean in the real world? What's the real price of keeping that one restrictive word, pharmacist, in the final law? Well, the implications, they are massive. The potential fallout here is just enormous. Experts are warning that this is going to discourage local manufacturing and innovation, which means the country will have to rely even more on imported drugs. It actually drives a wedge between scientific professionals who really ought to be working together. And on top of all that, it goes against the shared guidelines of the East African community. It even violates rulings from the Equal Opportunities Commission about, unfairly reserving jobs for just one group. And believe me, this isn't just about one industry or a single law. This decision goes right to the heart of the nation's biggest, most important long-term goals, all captured in a huge national plan called Uganda Vision 2040. And the stakeholders couldn't be clearer on this. They're saying this one little clause actively works against the country's national goal, a goal to transform Uganda from a peasant society to a modern and prosperous one in just 30 years. You see, a huge part of that vision is building up local industry. And this clause, it cuts that ambition right off at the knees. So, here we are. We're at a crossroads. A decision has been made, that seems to fly in the face of expert advice, of regional standards, and even of the nation's own blueprint for its future, for progress, and for self-sufficiency. And it all comes back to this one really fundamental question. You see, the story of Clause 31, it's not really just about a word. It's about how policy gets made in the first place. And it leaves all of us with a pretty heavy question to think about. When a nation's top scientific experts sound the alarm again and again, who exactly is supposed to be listening?